like us is over. This be like us or become like us is over. And that's what the Americans cannot understand. They still...
Before I get this lesson started, I want to give all honors and praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakadash, and double honors to the elders and the apostles of the great millstone of whom I learned this truth from, and a shalom to the hopeful elect brothers taking this truth to the four corners of the earth, bidding the elect Israelites to the marriage supper of the Lamb, Yahweh Shai. This is your brother Wadah with another lesson on just being a watchman, showing the shameful spewings of the Edomites. What you see on the screen, this looks, I don't know who this gentleman is. I'm almost positive he is an Edomite, and he is one of the types of Edomites that whenever you hear them spewing shame of their own dealings, of the things that they have done, or pointing the finger at their own people, this is a fulfillment of prophecy. We find that in Psalms, and I'm going to pull that up. He's pretty much, in some levels, on a carnal way, confessing everything that prophecy says about this rulership. I'm going to let this video play, and then I'm going to get precepts, and then we'll be done.
Believe that they have to lead. The world must be led by the Americans. And the reason they can't see it and they are in denial is that it's going down. Not the U.S. as a state or a society, but as an empire. And all empires go down. There's no empire that has existed forever. So you may say the United States today is Titanic. The West is sitting as restaurants in Titanic, and the water is coming up around the windows. Now, instead of then reaching out and say, okay, our time is over, we will be one among many and we will cooperate with you, what they do is they insist on one thing, and that is to dominate by means of deception.
Listen to that confession, man. I just did a lesson recently. I'm waiting for it to be approved on how the entire system is got the name of blasphemy on it. And blasphemy goes into a form of accusation, slander, and lies. An entire system of lies. And that is all Esau, Edom can do. They cannot admit fault. They cannot admit weakness. They cannot give credit to someone else because they cannot admit the glory of Yahweh while Yahweh Shai. They cannot admit the power and the wisdom of Yahweh while Yahweh Shai. They have to be viewed as the source of wisdom, strength, and power. Isaiah 14, what it says in Isaiah 14 about them, they would try to be like the Most High, and this goes into their pride. I'll let it continue.
Truths, narratives, and secondly, militarism. I would like to predict at this occasion, the United States will go the same way as the Soviet Union because it is militarizing itself to death. The Americans don't do diplomacy anymore. They send weapons. They pour in weapons because that's what they are best at. But no country can survive with just being strong in one sense. For instance, militarily. If you become politically weak, you become economically weak, you become psychologically weak, you become weak in terms of international law and legitimacy, then you are on your way down. A strong country is one which has high level on all power indicators and do not over-militarize and neglect the other power scales. The United States.
And we know for a fact, if you study prophecy, any nation outside of the nation of Israel that was sanctioned to rule according to the prophecy in Daniel chapter 2, and I think it's Daniel chapter 7 or 9. We're talking about the four beasts, and then mentioned again in 2nd Esdras 11, the four beasts that were allowed or set up to rule in his world. Those four beasts, those four systems, those four rulerships all got their power from the left-hand side of Yahweh. Because there's only one nation that gets its power from the right-hand side of Yahweh, and that's Israel, the true Hebrew Israelites, the 12 tribes. Every other nation that has been able to rule in the earth, they have to rule from the left-hand side. They have to rule from the occultic side, the abominable side, the satanic side. That's the only way they're able to get their power. And the Most High controls both sides. He's the only one that can control and create both sides, because the right-hand side is the righteous expression of Yahweh, and the left-hand side is the evil or the wicked expression of Yahweh. You guys have to understand that. So for him to talk about the power going down of Edom, it's also because the left hand spirits are no longer giving correct direction to Esau, because his time is up. And that's where he got his power from. He got his power from the left-hand side.
It has, you can say, a MIMAC, military, industrial, media, academic complex. These are elites who have common interests with each other, such as producing weapons, selling weapons, using weapons, destroying countries, rebuilding countries again. But they do not have any common interest with the people in their countries. They're outside democratic control, and who said that? President Dwight D. Eisenhower in 1961 or 2, whenever he made his farewell speech. It's a very famous speech by a man who was a general himself, who said the United States has developed a military-industrial complex. He didn't call it MIMAC as I do. And we need to put it under control to remain a democracy. What is undermined very, very clearly now is pluralist open media and our democracy in the West, because everything is now geared to warfare and militarism. More. There's nobody who stops to think. There's nobody who stops to think about the long-term consequences of pouring in weapons and never solving the conflicts. You just look at what goes on now in Israel. A country that had so much weaponry already, had nuclear weapons, have had a special agreement with weapons with the United States, $5 billion a year, I don't know for how many years. What is the first reaction in Washington? We must transfer even more weapons to Israel.
So this proves also that these two groups are the Edomites, because Esau would be blessed with the sword, and everything he would accomplish in the earth would be by his sword. Because no one has had weapons. It's the other countries are just now catching up to the Edomites when it comes to technological weapons like atomic bombs and ICBM missiles. And they're doing it under the cover of another group of Edomites known as Gog and Magog, which we know as the Bear or Russia. And Russia has weapons. Russia's just not a part. They're just not a part of the Edomites in NATO and EU. And Yahweh Shai said what? A house divided cannot stand. This has all been by design of the Most High from the beginning to the end, man.
This is a sick society. It's a sick way of thinking. And of course, this whole thing has to do with, as I said before, the dream, the unrealistic dream or illusion that if we can get rid of Russia as an opponent, and we created that opponent ourselves because they never invaded a NATO country, they hope.
Did you hear what he just said? So you got the confession of an Edomite talking about they rejected Russia, which then created this entire schism that is between them, which is necessary because prophecy says so. These two Edomite groups are going to go to war with each other and destroy each other at the design of prophecy written by the Most High. That's how this is going to go down, man.
That they can concentrate all NATO's resources on a Cold War or...
Yahweh Shai does come through with his chariot and completely finish everything off, but this is the way the story is written, man. But this is not how Christianity has taught it. Christianity has never exposed the West as being the villain in prophecy. They've always painted themselves as the hero, and they're not.
God forbid a hot war against China. You just go to NATO's homepage and you look at the threat perception. NATO is now characterized to be something like a church. You either believe in this nonsense or you don't. There's never an argument on NATO's homepage. The text is, China is a threat or a challenge because China is different from us. China has different interests from us in the West. Now, if that's how you define a threat, everybody around the world basically is a threat. So the whole thing is a military-industrial complex lives from finding enemies. Because if you don't have enemies, or say you have enemies, or appoint somebody, or make enemies, you can't legitimate your own arms development and the military.
And what did we just realize or learn that that blasphemy is? It's a form of railing. It's a form of accusation. It's a form of. I'm going to pull up the definition of that because he's proven the point. In order for the Edomites to justify their war, they always have to go around blaming somebody. They live in this consistent, nonstop, paranoid, schizophrenic. You're going to do something to me. You hear it all the time with Edomites shooting Jake. I was afraid for my life. In their minds, you're always doing something to them, yet you're the one that ends up dead, and they're the one standing over you with the weapon. It shows you the genetic makeup of the mindset of Esau. This is in their minds, this blasphemous way of looking at everybody, especially the Israelites. You're a threat to me because we don't think alike. Therefore, I have to do something to you before you do it to me. And then they accuse you, and you're the one that's dead, and they're still alive. We used to see this all the time, man.
Industrial media academic complex will fall apart. So that's why the moment we get rid of that military industrial media academic complex, we can begin to talk to each other as human beings. So, the long story short here...
And the only way that will happen is if Esau as a whole, according to prophecy, is destroyed and removed from global power and hegemony. And they're not going to do that on their own, so Yahweh Shai has to come in and take them down.
The thing is that I wouldn't trust that this be like us is over. This be like us or become like us is over. And that's what the Americans cannot understand. They still...
All right, now we're just going to get some precepts and be done. So I saw this, and I was like, let me get them precepts, baby. So we know what prophecy is saying, right? We understand what prophecy is saying. So Obadiah, what is Obadiah saying? Obadiah 1 and 8. Shall I not in that day, saith Yahweh, while Yahweh Shai, even destroy the wise men out of Edom? And you just heard this man pointing out all the stupid decisions that they're making and the understanding out of the mount of Edom. The word mount goes into the government or rulership of Esau. So he's talking about the rulership of the so-called white man and how they are losing wisdom. But how are they losing wisdom? Is their intelligence the ability to say 2 + 2 is 4? No, it's talking about where they get their wisdom from, which is the left-hand side. You guys have to understand at the highest levels in Esau's kingdom, they do communicate with demonic spirits. They do satanic practices. They do high-level witchcraft, blood rituals, a feast of blood, as it's mentioned, I believe, in Solomon, Wisdom of Solomon 5. They do these things, and they get information in exchange from those spirits. Well, those spirits work for Yahweh. They don't work for Esau. They work for Yahweh. And now we are in the time of prophecy where Esau's wisdom is going to start declining, which means the left-handed Alahayim, that's the Hebrew word for powers or gods or powers, those quote-unquote demonic spirits are no longer giving correct or wise counsel to the group of Edomites that they speak to then transfer that information down the pipeline so that Esau can move freely in the earth. It's all coming to an end. This is verse 9 of Obadiah, verse 1, or chapter 1. And the mighty man of Teman goes into your Germans, shall be dismayed to the end that every one of the mount, that goes their government of Esau, may be cut off by slaughter. So they're going to eventually lose. Look at this. This is a mockery. This is a prophecy in Isaiah 47, 12 through 14. Stand now. So this is a direction to the Edomites from the Most High. Stand now with thine enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries. What's he mentioning? He's mentioning left-handed practices. These things, enchantments, sorceries, these are forbidden for the Israelites to touch. We can't operate like this. We have to pray, fast, and go along what prophecy says in the name of Yahweh Shai. We cannot operate in these left-handed practices because for us it's transgression. It's abominable. It's abominable for us to mess with this. But it's not for Esau in the sense on this is how he gets his power. Stand now with thine enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. So since the beginning, this race of people have operated this way. They were never Christians. That was a lie. They were never righteous people. That was an illusion. That was part of their enchantments. If so be thou shalt be able to profit. So the Most High is mocking them. If so be thou mayest prevail. Thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. Behold, they shall be as stubble, the fire shall burn them, they shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. There shall not be a coal to warm at, nor fire to sit before it. So this is the Most High speaking to the Edomites in the form of mockery. Go trust in your magic. See if it will save you. As far as this man talking, there's two ways you can look at Psalm 64 verse 8, and they're both right. So they shall make their own tongues to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. This manifests in two ways. The highest way, one of the most, well, they're both high. When you see them doing what is called the revelation of the method. The revelation of the method is a version of whenever you see a movie, let's say you see a movie and it's talking about 9/11 before 9/11 happened. Or if you look at a rock star and on his t-shirt, he's got the Twin Towers on his t-shirt in a photo with his band members, and you see the Twin Towers blowing up the same way they blew up when they did blow up, but that photo was taken like 3 years before 9/11 took place. Or if you watch the cartoon, the famous cartoon, Bart Simpson, The Simpsons, they're always putting stuff in that cartoon that later happens. That's called the revelation of method. That is an occultic belief that goes into karma, that they believe if they show you in a coded sense, in a way that you couldn't even possibly know that that's what they're talking about. But if they show it to you and it goes before your eyes and you don't say anything or do anything about it on some level, that they are innocent when they do carry out their, their act in the earth, and there's no guilt. But Isaiah 14 condemns them because what they're trying to do is they're trying to be like Yahweh, because Yahweh declares things from the end and the beginning. He says things before through the prophets that no one can stop. And if you look, I actually think I got it already. How art thou fallen, O Lucifer? Look, so the Lucifer is talking about the higher up echelons of the Edomites on the left-hand side operating in those enchantments and those magics. That's what it's talking about. This is not talking about Satan as we were taught. That Satan did not fall from the left hand. Satan, it will always, the actual prince demon, spirit Satan, and all those other wicked angels on the left-hand side will always hold that position on the left-hand side of Yahweh, because they are the left-handed expression of Yahweh. Same with the right-side angels. That they're not going to ever lose their position. This Lucifer is talking about a man, a race of people. How art thou fallen from heaven? And heaven is rulership in the earth. You got to remember, there's 3 levels of heaven. You have rulership on the earth, you have the atmosphere or the sky, and then you have the actual throne room of the Most High where he is seated. Those are the 3 heavens. This heaven is talking about rulership on the earth. How art thou fallen from heaven? Oh, and look, you know what? Fuck that. Let me prove that. I got to prove it to you now. So you can't just take my word for it. It's in Lamentations. It's in Lamentations. We'll come back to Isaiah 14. We got to go here. Let me see if I can pull it up in the blue letter. We got to show you guys this. The Bible interprets itself. You have to learn how to read Scripture this way. We were never taught how to read Scripture this way in Christianity. Okay, so look at Lamentations chapter 2. How hath the Lord covered the daughter of Zion? That is talking about the rulership of Israel. You got to remember, the Most High speaks in lyrical code, lyrical bars, poetic expressions. He's very amazing in the way he arranges words, and you have to learn his language. You have to figure out what he's saying. But it's once you start to get it by the Spirit of wisdom, it becomes consistent, and it's awesome. How hath the Lord covered the daughter of Zion? With a cloud in his anger, and cast down from heaven unto the earth the beauty of Israel, and remembered not his footstool in the day of his anger. The Lord hath swallowed up all the habitations of Jacob, and hath not pitied. he hath thrown down in his wrath the strongholds of the daughter of Judah. So what's happening? The Israelites are losing their sovereignty in the earth, and another nation, another race of people is now being allowed to overcome us. And it was because of our disobedience. He hath brought them down to the ground. We were already on the ground. This is talking about we lost our sovereignty and our position in a higher place when King David and King Solomon were in rulership. We had the highest place on the planet. He hath polluted the kingdom and the princes thereof. If you look at this verbiage, it's the same thing that you see here with Isaiah 14, and even I think in Revelations when it talks about the dragon, and in fact we're going to get that. Look, so let's look at this real quick. I got to prove the point before I go further, so it doesn't look like I'm. How art thou fallen? So this is not talking about Satan. This is talking about just like the daughter of Zion. What's the daughter of Zion? Is it talking about some female? No, Israel, the rulership, the men are likened unto a comely woman. It's poetic. Same thing when King Solomon is speaking about the spirit of wisdom, which comes from his father. Well, his father's a man, right? And he's a man talking about the spirit of wisdom, but he likens wisdom unto a woman. He always he calls the spirit of wisdom her, and her talking about her beauty, even though it's coming from a man. It's poetic. Isaiah 14:12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into the heaven. I will ascend into rulership. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. Talking about I will exalt my throne above the stars. The stars is talking about the Israelites. How do we know this is talking about the Israelites? Because if you go back into Genesis, when Joseph had his dream about the 12 stars, the moon and the sun, or the 11 stars bowing down to him and the moon and the sun, he was the 12th star. That's how we know that this version of stars is talking about the 12 tribes of Israel. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregations in the sides of the north. That's talking about America. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. And this is how Esau acts like he's God in the earth, by putting the revelation of the method in media, in the press, in the radio, by putting predictive programmings, talking about Kobe Bryant's death before he died, talking about Prince's death, all these things he did in the Simpsons, talking about 9/11 before it happened, and it looks like damn, it kind of looks like this dude's operating in a supernatural way, and he is, but he's also making this stuff happen because of his position of power in the earth, and he's telling you in a coded way in the media before he does. But why is he doing it? He's trying to mimic the Most High in Scripture. This is what the Most High does in Scripture. Now look at these precepts again. I think I have it in let me see. Hold up. Let me see. Okay, yeah. So look at this. So Revelation 12. Here's another version of prophecy saying that Esau, as the dragon, is going to fall from heaven. It's not talking about Satan, the prince demon. So Revelations 12. Look at this, verse 1, and I'm going to read it down. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet. That talks about the sun and the moon is talking about wisdom and knowledge and understanding. And the woman is Israel. And upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And the 12 stars are your 12 tribes of Israel. And she began with child, and this is talking about Yahushai, and she being with child cried, travailing in birth and pain to be delivered. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, in rulership, and behold, a great red dragon. This is the Roman Empire, and this is the Edomites, the so-called white man, having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his heads. And his tail, now this leaps into the future. Now the verse 4 is talking about when slavery took place, the transatlantic slave trade. And his tail drew the third part of the stars. The third part of the stars is talking about the southern kingdom, Judah, Levi, Judah, and Benjamin. Because the northern kingdom was already in America, had already traveled to America from when King Solomon had messed up, and that's also documented in 2nd Esdras, okay, chapter 13, I believe. All right, so you got to know when to read this, okay? And the dragon stood before the woman, and then now it jumps back, It jumps back into time when Yahushua is being born. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. And we knew that happened when Yahushua was born. In the Gospels, when King Herod launched off all those soldiers to go kill all the babies, because the magistrate or the magi had come and said a star is being born, and King Herod was insecure and he wanted to kill Yahushua before he became a king. And he brought forth a man, and she brought forth a man child who was to rule all nations, and this is going to happen in the future with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up into God and to his throne, and the woman fled into the wilderness, where she hath a place prepared of the Most High, that they should feed her there 1,260 days. And there was war in heaven. This is coming in the future. This is now where we are at in America. We're about to go into Jacob's trouble. Things are about to get really bad. They're going to implement the mark of the beast. Russia and China are gathering themselves together. All the other nations are getting their weapons stronger underneath the covering of Russia, and eventually even the EU and NATO, which are the beasts, they're going to turn on America. Okay, so this is where Yahushua and Esau fight in the heavens for rulership. This is Esau. This is 2nd Ezra 6:9. And there was war in heaven. This is talking about now on the earth in the future. It's not talking about Satan, the actual prince demon spirit, fighting the archangel Michael for some position of rulership in heaven. He already has a rulership on the left-hand side of Yahweh. He's the top angel on that side. He gets to legally do all kinds of bad shit when the Most High sends him to do bad shit, and he's not committing a sin. He's permanently, you guys, the true Satan spirit is permanently locked in on the left-hand side of the Most High Yahweh. He's going to always be able to do bad shit as he's sent out to do bad shit and not even be committing a sin, because that's his lot. He's never going to be judged for the stuff he does because Yahweh sends him. That's what people don't understand. Okay, so there was war in heaven. This is talking about people and Yahushua. It's talking about Esau and Yahushua. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels. Who are the dragon's angels? All of his airplanes, his jets, his what do you call it? The drones, his rockets, his missiles. Esau has technology to fight, you guys, and he prevails not. Neither was their place found anymore in heaven. So he has no more place in rulership on the earth, just like we lost rulership on the earth in Lamentations 2. Remember? Let's go back so you don't forget. Lamentations chapter 2, verses 1 and 2. How hath the Lord covered the daughter of Zion with a cloud in his anger, and cast down from heaven unto the earth the beauty of Israel. So was Israel in the sky somewhere? No. This is all symbolic of us losing our sovereign power on the planet. Just like here. This guy, he prevailed not, verse 8, and was there no place found anymore in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. We just learned recently that it is the one race of people that's lying to everybody. He was cast out unto the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. It's the same verbiage that you see in Lamentations chapter 2, verses 1 and 2. The Lord hath swallowed up all the habitation of Jacob, and hath not pitied. He hath thrown down in his wrath the strongholds of the daughter of Judah. He hath brought them down to the ground. It's the same. He hath polluted the kingdom and the princes of earth. We lost our sovereignty, and we have not gotten it back since we lost it. And now Esau's about to lose his sovereignty, and he's not going to get it back. And we're going to get it back because, I'm going to go into that 2nd Ezra's 6:9 precept after this. Look, verse 9. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. Everybody's dealing with the lies of the white man right now. There's not another race of people, you guys, on the earth that everybody's having to unscramble lies. We're not having to deal with lies from China. We're not even having to deal, and Russia are the Edomites. But we're not having to deal with the lies of Russia. We're not having to deal with the lies of Africa. Ham. We're not having to deal with the lies of Ishmael or Elam, the Hindus or the Middle East. We're having to deal with the lies and the social constructs of one specific people group on the earth. The so-called white man in America, the Edomites, okay? And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil, and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying, look at this. Look at verse 10. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven. Now this lines up with 2 Ezra 6:9 and Lamentations chapter 4, verses 21 and 22. I'm going to pull those precepts once I read this. Verse 10, Revelations 12, verse 10. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation. Why? Because the devil, who is the Edomites, Esau, he's been brought down. We don't get salvation until he's brought down. And salvation has always meant that the Israelites are being delivered from the rulership of another nation, from the captivity of another nation. This is what salvation means. It doesn't mean that you're not going to burn in hell forever. This is what salvation means. You're seeing it. Verse 10, and I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, how now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our power and the power of his Hamashiach. For the accuser, what did we see? What did we learn about blasphemy? What did we learn about blasphemy in the last lesson? That the blasphemy on the seven heads is a consistent system of slander, accusation, ridicule, and wicked talking and slandering of a good name of somebody else. This is all these people do. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accuse them before our God day and night, because their entire system is set up on lies. Now look, here we go. Look at this. 2 Ezra 6:9. For Esau is the end of the world. That's what you're seeing here. The end of the age. The planet doesn't go anywhere. The rulership on the planet does change, though. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. That's what you see in verse 10. And I heard a loud voice saying, heaven, verse 9 and 10. That's what you're seeing. You're seeing a transition of power. You're seeing one nation that's been connected to another nation in prophecy. This is why white people can't keep. This is why white people cannot keep black people and Latinos and Native Americans, but mainly the Judites right now. That's why they can't keep our names out of their mouth. They're fucking obsessed with us. Why? Right here, you see why. Prophecy. They're stuck to us in fucking prophecy. This is why they follow us wherever we go. What are you doing? Why are you here? This and that. They're constantly talking about us, constantly comparing themselves. They're fucking obsessed, and they have everything, and they can't get our names out their mouth because prophecy has us connected to each other. We're not black, and they're not white. They are Esau, and we are Jacob. They're not white, and we're not Latino. We are Jacob, and they are Esau. They're not white, and we're not Indians. We are Jacob, and they are Esau. You guys got to get this. So you see Revelations 12, verses 9 and 10, right? And the great dragon was cast out, the old serpent called the devil, and Satan, which deceiveth the world, the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Verse 10, and I heard a loud voice saying, now in heaven, now is in rulership, now is salvation, now is come salvation, and strength, and the kingdom of our power, and the power of his Hamashiach. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our power day and night. Now you go to 2 Ezra 6:9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Now look at this one. Boom! Lamentations 4:21 and 22. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom. The Most High is being sarcastic. Ha ha! You're falling down. That dwelleth in the land of Uz. The cup. What's the cup? Right here. When they lose power, they don't just lose their power, they go into slavery, you guys. Not only do they get their asses kicked in war, now they got to bow down and serve. Now they got to clean our toilets. Now they got to dust everything. Now they got to be our servants. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup, what's in the cup? Slavery is in the cup. Also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken and shalt make thyself naked. All of your sin because that's what nakedness means. It means not having a covering for your transgressions. Now you're going to have to deal with all the sins you've done. Look at verse 22. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. Let's go back. Let's go back right here. Lamentations 2, verses 1, 2, and 3. How hath the Lord covered the daughter of Zion with a cloud in his anger, and cast down from heaven unto the earth the beauty of Israel, and remembered not his footstool in the day of his anger. The Lord hath swallowed up all the habitations of Jacob, and hath not pitied. We were punished too. Why? Because of our nakedness. He hath thrown down in his wrath the strongholds of the daughter of Judah. He hath brought them down to the ground. He hath polluted the kingdom and the princes thereof. It's the same, you guys. Now our time of being in prison is over. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwelleth in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken and shalt make thyself naked. Look at verse 22. The punishment of thine iniquity is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. He will visit thine iniquity, O daughter of Edom. He will discover thy sins. And that's what we see. Lamentations 21 and Lamentations 22 is literally a nation of people, the Israelites, who have been in prison this entire time. The nation of Esau has been in heaven. And Esau has been talking shit about the nation that's been in prison, but he has filled the earth with a bunch of factual evidence about us without acknowledging the truth. And what do I mean by that? Yes, we're fucked up. Yes, we're on the bottom. Yes, for some reason we get sick really easy and die early. And what the fuck? What, those are all factual things, but why are these things happening? Because of this. Lamentations 2 is one reason, because we're the Hebrew Israelites and we committed sins against the Most High, and his punishment to our adultery was to place us on the bottom of Esau. This is the part that Esau doesn't explain. He just tells everybody that we're on the bottom, and everybody sees, yeah, you're on the bottom, and so everybody responds to us like we're on the bottom. And Esau says, I'm on the top. And Esau is on the top, but he doesn't explain why or how he's on top. Why? Because he never mentions the Most High. He doesn't tell the whole story. He talks about the story as if he is the reason for the fucking story, not because of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai. And that's where the prophets come in. We say, look, man, yeah, we're under the curses. Look, we say Esau is in rulership, but we explain why. And now Esau is coming to an end of his rulership, and the end of his rulership is the beginning of Yahweh Shai's rulership. That's what 2 Ezra 6:9 says. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Let's go back a little bit to that video. Just a little bit. Just a little tiny bit. Now this motherfucker want to act up. Hold on, Salakia. Don't you just love technology?
This be like us is over. This be like us or become like us is over. And that's what the Americans cannot understand. They still...
And so what he should say is that's what the Edomites cannot understand. Because when you say Americans, again, that's a general term. It wasn't the Americans who had slaves. It wasn't the Americans who dropped bombs on Hiroshima. It's not the Americans who are provoking World War III right now. It's the fucking Edomites. It's not the Americans mentioned in 2 Ezra 6:9. It's not the Americans mentioned in Lamentations 4:21 or 22. It's the Edomites, and it's Jacob. These are the terms that see even he
believe that they have to.
This motherfucker, when he's confessing truth, he's still not speaking all the way according to prophecy. This is why you can only take what they say with a little grain of salt, and you have to show it through prophecy. Even so, he sounds genuine, right? But even the terms he's using are wrong. They cannot speak truth, you guys.
Lead the world, it must be led by the Americans. And the reason they can't see it and they are in denial is that it's going down. Not the US as a state or a society, but as an empire. And all empires go down.
But why do they go down? Because the Most High said, you motherfuckers can't rule forever. We're going to read Job. Let's find, where's it at in Job? I had found it earlier. Okay, there it is. Look at this. So, boom. Seeing his days are determined, the number of his months are with thee. Thou hast appointed his bounds that he cannot pass. That's why, man. So, I said a lot. There's a whole lot more to say. I saw this and was like, man, let me do a lesson on this bonehead real quick, man. I hope this lesson was edifying. I was kind of hyper. My bad. I still got some coffee in my system, so I'm speaking kind of fast. I apologize for that. But I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, and double honors to the elders and the apostles of the great millstone of whom I learned from, and in Shalom to the hopefully elect, taking this truth to the four corners, bidding the elect of Yasharallah to the marriage supper of Yahushai. Man, this is your brother Radah. Shalom.